Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me the greatest pleasure to declare the 21st Commonwealth Games open.
When people think about big events like the Commonwealth Games, we might think of dystopian gentrification or utopian means and how it is a way to reimagine what society looks like. And we found that neither scenario occurred. Instead, our research revealed that the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games is a far more nuanced and comprehensive story.
Brisbane
In 10 years' time, we're expecting another mega event, the 2032 Olympic Games. Whether this story repeats itself or not will depend on the decisions we choose today. The benefits of mega events, tourism, job openings and infrastructural developments are valuable to building the city around them, but they can also exclude our most economically vulnerable populations who are susceptible to homelessness. Instead, mega events should ensure the values espoused by the Queensland Council of Social Service that every person in every community deserves equality, opportunity and well-being. That is why we sought to use the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games as a case study with our research guided by 4 core questions. To what extent did the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games contribute to gentrification processes on the Gold Coast? How did social and housing service providers and their users experience this change? What did social service perceive as the medium-term effects on the housing landscape? How did local planning and government policy during the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games mitigate or exacerbate the effects of gentrification? We explored these questions through interviewing representatives from social and housing service providers in the local government area who were active during the 2018 Commonwealth Games. From these interviews, we developed themes that were divided into 4 categories: expectations, planning and preparation, what had happened, recommendations. Participants anticipated both positive and negative impacts from the Games, largely implicated by messaging from the local government. Positive expectations included economic prosperity, infrastructural developments, and improved transportation.
There was a buzz around town, and that created a lot of infrastructure projects, which also happened with major events. So the light rail was the most noticeable example of that, plus all the Commonwealth Games venues that were created.
Negative expectations of the Games' impact included the notion that transport systems would be gridlocked and busy, causing many residents to leave the Gold Coast during the Games. These negative expectations also included specific impacts on the visibly homeless population, in particular the potential dislocation which may have influenced the attention provided to the issue during the planning stages. Planning for the Games began when it was first announced in 2011 and included planning processes for homelessness such as the creation of several key policies and actions, such as expanding the 7 Care Connect website and a demystifying homelessness poster. Much of the preparation for the lead up to the Games focused on providing temporary housing solutions for homeless people. Some organisations suggested that this took the form of a crisis approach rather than a preventative approach, and did not extend to the structural causes of homelessness and housing problems.
So what happened on the Gold Coast is that there was a deliberate approach to working with rough sleeping populations. It was really a focus on then and there, not now and in the future.
Many organisations reported that there were no noticeable changes to their service use, or if there were, they returned to normal post-Games. Crucially, some organisations did attribute part of this non-impact to the transient nature of the Gold Coast as well as the fluctuating homelessness population in the area. Gentrification emerged as an underlying factor contributing to the increasing housing costs and rents, though it was not identified in direct relation to the Games. One of the main housing outcomes for the Games was the missed opportunity of earmarking some units for social and affordable housing in the Athletes' Village, rather than using it as a pure build-to-rent model.
It was the first instance in 20 years when there had not been some form of social and affordable housing provided as a result from the Commonwealth Games.
Positive outcomes from the Games related to the organisational collaboration and community spirit. Organisations recommended early planning and funding commitments, clear communication between government and the local community, adequately resourced, strong and coordinated networks of local service providers, and preventative approaches to ameliorating homelessness. But most importantly, organisations highlighted the need for a healthy housing market to sustain tenancies in the long term. So, will this legacy be an opportunity that's equal and promotes wellbeing for all?